Alright, good day everyone. My name is Coxson Christian. I'm from Port Harcourt, which is in Rivers State. I'm a native of Okrika and we speak Ijaw. I grew to love comedy as a craft. I was an actor. I grew up being an actor. My elder brother, my stepbrother, Osaki, was taking me up as an actor for one time when I was in school. So after I left them, I started living with my grandma, where I joined the production team as an actor. As time went, I started seeing a few comedians that were coming around for our production shoots. So I decided that I could try this thing out. I got interested. I started watching a couple of clips from Agudai, Basket Mouth, and a couple of wonderful comics. So I decided to be part of the craft and see what I can do with it. And here we are, doing the Lord's work. My first ever experience as a stand-up comedian was kind of awkward. I didn't do very fine, but I liked it. I grew up not having somebody I could hold on to as a mentor, so I started watching random clips and trying to see how I could do it. Nobody would say do this and do that until one time when I was in my final year in school, I was asked to perform. I was even tired because all the other big heads in school had performed and then it was not coming out like me. How would I perform and it would work? But eventually I had a bit of knowledge in sound arrangement. So when they gave me the mic, I had to pull off the foam that was there. And then it sounded a little bit sharper, at least people could hear me. And then from there, things started working out. I've noticed that comedy is not all as it seemed in Nigeria though. I've noticed that most of the times, it's not even about how talented you are. I've learned that you have to be polite, you have to be humble, you have to have a very good character, know how to relate with other people, basically. So I've learned a lot. Plus, stand-up comedy in Nigeria makes you flexible. It makes you know a couple of things and how to talk about it. You just wouldn't always accept simple laugh. You have to make the laughs come very heavy. So I've learned a couple of things that I can work with. All right, as time goes, there are some things we want to talk about that we need some IQs to be up to understand. So generally, if the education system in Nigeria would go up, I think the generation that are coming up will not be having to struggle to talk about some things that are very technical. So I think with time, the comedy industry as it's going up will yield more profit as it's doing in the Western society. Yeah, and then I think at that point, comedians will get to profit the most. My favorite moments, this is included. Yeah, Nextnaijacomedystar. I think I've enjoyed a couple of things. I think some time to think. I think this is the point where most people that have not known about my craft get to know about it. Most people that have not known me get to know about me. A whole lot of things, so this is really part of it. My worst experience as a comedian are those times where my joke didn't go as I planned. Yeah, most of the times. You know, in our job, you get to meet a heterogeneous audience where what this person wants to hear isn't what the next person wants to hear. So you get to see some stuff and then it really doesn't work. Some other times you have to wait for jobs. One of the most annoying part is when you have to wait for, people have to wait for you to MC jobs before you get paid as a stand-up comedian. But the both crafts are different. You have to be paid as a stand-up comedian differently. Money has to come as a stand-up comedian, not as an MC though, for me. But sometimes I think MCs are paid more than stand-up comedians are paid. So we are praying that we get to the part where we get to do our own special, where people come to hear jokes, actual jokes, instead of waiting for us to ask them to MC their event so we get paid. When I get to win, I wouldn't want to lie low. I think that the world will want to hear me, the world will want to hear what I have. Okay, everybody is going to vote because they think this guy is good, and at the end of the day when you get to win, they don't want to see you out of the scene for a very long time. They want you to keep up Some people believe in you so much that they want to be seen, even if they're not seeing every other comedian, they just want to be seeing you. So you just have to be, I'll try to be putting out content, try to start from the grassroots, use part of what I have gotten, what I have won, to see if I can get a show done, maybe with sponsors too, and then with time, before another show comes, try to be putting up things on social media for them to be seeing, things that are interesting though, and then with time, just keep being there, just keep being consistent with what I do. So I think basically that's what I will do by the grace of God. All of them are excited, even though some of them are tensed though. When I left the house, I live in Port Harcourt, when I left the house for Lagos for the audition, I told just very few people, right? I just wanted to go and see how it went, and then with time. So it was later after the audition that I called my mom to tell her that, see, this is where I went, I qualified, because we don't stay in the same house. So she was worried, and then she was like, when am I coming back and all. So when they started hearing about all the voting process, and then they didn't have the channel to watch, they were worried. How would they watch? How would they do this? So some of my friends were just going to give them information, and then, you know, from a Christian mother, she always pray for you and be worried. So I just hope it turns out fine. My two topmost plans as a stand-up comedian, the first plan is to get good jokes for my audience, right? I don't want to be the guy that's forcing the joke on the audience. I want it to just come out naturally. I just want people to just like it naturally, right? I want to talk about things that they will relate to. And then secondly, I really want to trust in God that I keep being in the eyes of the audience. Give them something very interesting to watch. Just be there, keep putting up events. Apart from the fact that I'll get good jokes, I'll keep putting up events, because if you have good jokes and then you keep putting up events, I think people will always follow you. I don't want the situation where you put up a good event and then the jokes are not very good, or you have good jokes and then they cannot see it to hear it. So I want to be able to blend good materials with good events together.
If you're boring, make you go away, far away, far away for the next night.